Hello, it's Jenny from Ginger Ninja Crafts. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I am here with a Christmas in July video. Now, my mission for this video is to use up a piece of A4 card, which I have covered in Pixie Powders. I want to say a long time ago. I have this folder that is bursting at the seams with all sorts of inky, painty paper. Some of them have been kind of cut into, some of them have not. Oh, I've just found that. That's quite nice. I wonder if I could use that for another one. I'm just going to see if I've got anything like what I've used today, because I have already used it. No, I don't. Never mind. You'll see. You'll see if you want to watch the video. But yes, I have made 3 different designs. If you want to see how one sheet of, it could be any kind of painty, inky paper, how one sheet can be transformed into 11 cards, 3 different designs, then please keep watching. Okay, so I have got this Mary die. I think it was a Creative Expressions one. I've had it in my stash for a long time, and I have cut it out in the Pixie Powder patterned paper that I'd made, and also just in this kind of matte gold, kind of pale gold. So I'm just popping the gold outline down first. I could have done like sticky back, double-sided stuff on the back of it, but actually it's really easy to stick down just with the kind of dotting some little adhesive on it. And now I'm just going in all of the areas that I need to stick down the patterned paper, again with the glue, and I'm just going to fill that in. Now there are spaces where you don't want the paper, so I am being mindful of that. So I'm doing the big letters there, and then there is some just little bits in between as the letters kind of cross over. So it does take a little bit of time, but actually it's not bad. The trick when you're doing this kind of thing is just to make sure that you keep all the pieces. So as soon as you die cut, get it onto your desk, pop out all the pieces and keep them all together. Because sometimes you don't realise a little bit has escaped, especially with the weather the way it is at the moment. And I've got a fan on all the time. So then I'm thinking about adding or completing the sentiment with Christmas. So it's it comes with little stamps, and it also comes with a little kind of banners, 2 different sizes. So I am just going to cut them out of white card. Oh, excuse me, I'm yawning. Post-lunch slump. And then going to see which one. So it's actually the larger one that the Christmas bit fits onto. And then I'm going to add some gold behind that. Now I decide to chop an inch off the side of the card. And so that's like an inch. So then I'm going to put a little strip of my patterned paper down that side. So I'm just deciding how much to cut, trimming off a bit here and a bit there, and then I'm going to cut the narrow bit on my little mini guillotine. So I'm going to put that down there. It just makes it feel a little bit more special. And then I can add the Christmas bit in that gap, and I can't decide if I want it to hang over the edge or not. So I'm just going to add a little gold border around it, and I'm just doing that by eye. There's not a nesting die for that, but it's kind of easy enough to just follow the shape around and then pop it on there. So that is the first design from this sheet of paper. Now the second one, I have cut out a Christmas tree background, and then there is a Christmas tree, the sort of detail of the decoration, if you like. So this one I did use a double-sided sticky tape on the back, but see, popping out all those little extra details, I'm doing it straight into my little bag of rubbish and kind of sticking them on, because otherwise I just know I'm going to drop them on the floor, I'm going to stand on them, I'm going to traipse them all around my house, I'm going to annoy myself. So I would say just use glue. I'm regretting my life choices at this point. But anyway, there we go, that's it done. So I've got the background there with the Pixie Powders, and then I'm putting on the adhesive gold layer, and I've got a decal edged little, what is this called? Is it a C5 card? I think so. And I've got a little sentiment. Oh, sorry. I've got my sentiment there. And I'm just going to cut that down, and I am going to layer it up. So I'm gluing it with a very thin border of this Pixie Powder paper around it. And then I'm going to add a thicker border of the gold. So it just ties in the colours and makes it feel a little bit fancier, I think, than just stamping directly onto the cardstock. It just depends what you like. If you like a very clean and simple card, then maybe you just stamp directly, but I like to make it a little bit, feel like it's just a little bit more luxurious, so that's what I do. So I'm just getting all those little points with the glue, lining it up on my mat so it's kind of straight, sticking it on, and then I'm going to add a little bit of detail. So I've got my trusty Nuvo drops. I'm going in with the red glittery one, and then there's a glittery yellow, and then I think I'm going to get another one there. Yeah, I've got the green glittery one, and then I've got the gold glittery, and I'm just adding that little bit of detail. Okay, so I have cut a little gold square, a little creamy kind of parchment sort of square, and a little Christmas tree. I think I got 7 of these, maybe, out of the scraps. So I've got my texty, scripty stamp, and then this is desert sand, so it's quite a light colour, and I'm just going to add a little bit of script there, a bit of brown around the edge. I'm going to layer this up from my glue. Here it is. So I'm going to add this little square onto that. So I'm just trying to centre that, and I'm going to make sure that my text is facing up the right way. I say that from experience, even though you can't really read it. I think you know when it's the wrong way up. Pop the little tree on, and you can see it's got a bit of variation from that Pixie Powder, and it's got that sheen. I've got the 5x5 craft card base. Now, I'm going to just flatten it so that I find it easier to find the centre when it's just, I'm just looking at the front of the card, but it does kind of bounce up a bit. So, but once I've got this bit on, then that's kind of the most important bit. So let me see. Let me get this out of the way. Let me just line that up on my mat. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. So this is the center here. I'm gonna pop that on there. Gonna put that on there. And then I'm just going to use the same sentiment here. And try and not headbutt my camera. There we go. So that is a very simple little Christmas card, but I think it's quite cute. And these are very easy to do, a big batch of them. So yeah. Okay, so let me show you what I managed to make out of one piece of A4 of card, which I had added Pixie Powders to, and it was in my stash of stuff, papers that I have done. So this is all that's left of that sheet, is these and a couple of teeny tiny little bits. So I showed you putting this one together, and I just decided to add a strip. So I cut, and I think you see in the video, I cut, I think it's about an inch off, and then I've just added that. And I think that makes it look something a little bit less shop bought and a little bit more special. Now, because for this, I die cut it out of the gold for the Mary. I die cut it out of the gold and the Pixie Powders. So I had the reverse. So, ta-da! I made another one. Because when life gives you lemons, you make a duplicate. I don't know if that makes sense. So this one, I had actually, I had stamped the sentiment just straight onto the card base, and then I decided I was going to do the same. So I re-stamped the sentiment onto the little sort of flag banner thing, and I just stuck it over because I had chopped half the sentiment off. So I just stuck it on there, and I think it looks quite cute. So that is 2 of those. Then I think I showed you the Christmas tree, and I actually made 2 of those. I could get 2 of the trees out of the Pixie Powder paper, so I just kept going with it. Now, the one I showed you, I actually used the double-sided tape roll underneath the gold layer. And actually, it was much easier to just die cut it and stick it on with wet glue. I've got the fine nozzle. It was much easier than poking out all the little extra bits and having to stick them onto something because they were all sticky as well. So I've got 2 of those. The Nuvo drops have all dried, and I think they're quite cute. These ones, I would make like bulk of those if somebody wanted to order those. All I would need is to make sure I've got enough space to let my little trees dry with the Nuvo drops. And then I have 7 of these. These are perfect for batch making. If you wanted to jazz them up a bit, you could always add a couple of Nuvo drops somewhere, or some gems. I do have gems and I do use them sometimes, but I do prefer Nuvo drops. So I've got 7 of these, and I think these are very cute, and these would be ideal if you were in a bit of a rush, you needed cards to take somewhere. You could easily knock these up, and you could do them in different you could have, if you had some maybe silvery Pixie Powder paper, you could die cut out maybe a snowflake or a star, and you could have it on some dark maybe some navy paper and a bit of holographic behind it, and then on a white card, for example, you could definitely mix and match those. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I think what I'm going to do now is make some more Pixie Powder paper, so I might do another video and show how I made that. I've also would quite like to try out a couple of other ideas. I go through phases of using Pixie Powders a lot. I can't say it, but I use them. And I feel like I'm just entering into another of those phases, and I have done a lot of Christmas cards through the years using Pixie Powders. So I think there'll be another video of that. Let me know if you would like to see that. I might do more of a sort of bluey or purpley colours and see what I could do. Obviously then I wouldn't necessarily go with the Christmas trees option. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. It was a really good excuse to use some bits and pieces that I've had in my stash. I don't know if I've ever used this tree die before. I don't think I've ever used this Mary die before, so all good. That was quite satisfying to use them. And what I think I might do for the shop is something like this, but make it personalised. Maybe, you know, have it Merry Christmas, Mum and Dad or Gran or whoever. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please let me know, did you have a favourite of the designs that I did today? And are you going to have a go at any of these? You could totally mix and match with the dies you have at home. Yeah, I'll be back very soon with some more Pixie Powders. Thanks for watching. Bye.